are awesome. You're hanging in there. You're doing the work. You have a bead on what you really want and have dabbled in some juicy details. And now it's time to take action. Before your mind panics, let's explain action for our purposes here. Action simply means showing up on a consistent basis, aka the baby steps. But from this day forward, no longer messing with the what or the cursed hows. Now, it may seem like an oxymoron. If you're going to take action, isn't the first step going to be what step and how? Like we've said so many times before, words fail us here. There's no traction. So let's look beneath them to the intention. The same is true with what determines what is cursed how or not. A cursed how becomes a cursed how, not by virtue of what was done, but by how you viewed why you did it. In other words, two people could take the very same action. For one, it's a cursed how. They're carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. And for another, it's just a knock on the door. They're not attached, they're knocking on doors. Anything can happen. So it's not what you do that makes a cursed how. A cursed how, but why you view why you did it. I know that sounds round and round, but we're going to get into it more. As this note from the universe illustrates, you don't take the baby step for the distance they cover, but to put yourself within reach of life's magic. And you don't hoist a sail to move the boat. You put yourself within reach of the wind when you hoist the sail. So hoist, baby, hoist. 1, 2, 3, 4. The universe. And just like you don't sing in the car to be heard. Why do you do that? Okay. So, a cursed how is determined by how you view why you did it. If you thought that why you took the baby step and that you're going to do these little baby steps in order to get to the top of the mountain, that would freak anyone out. It's like it's up to you and you alone. The weight of the world is on your shoulders. Meanwhile, you're juggling all these balls in the air. You've got all these preferences, and people are calling and nagging and blah, 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 blah. It is daunting and thereby almost impossible if that's how you choose to view why you're taking baby steps, because they will always feel like they're not enough. But here's another way to view them. It all boils down to perspective. To put yourself within reach of life's magic, you come to understand that every little step you take, the universe then takes 10,000. You take one, the universe takes 10,000. You take another, and so on and so on. Now you're even more within reach of life's magic. Now every single step you take has meaning. It is now enough. Every single step is an invitation for the divine to reach into your life. You become the lightning rod for miracles that will be evident, perhaps only after you have reached where you want to ultimately go, but that's okay. Because the miracles are typically invisible while they're happening. It would blow our minds if we could see them all the time. And it is usually only in hindsight that you realize that your entire path has been strewn with them. Similarly, just like you don't hoist your sails to move the boat, of course, it's not why you hoist the sails. The boat's in the same position after you hoist them. So why bother? To catch the wind, the unfailing, magical winds of the universe that never fail to blow. They will escape you and blow right over your head until you do your part. You must show up. You must take the baby steps. That's how you hoist your sails. You do your part so that the universe can do its part. You do your part, it does more. You keep going, it keeps going. You stop, it stops. These are the baby steps, and it is how you view them. You're doing your part so the universe can do its part. Now you're good to go. Now you're not carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. Just like you don't sing in the car to be heard by major music producers. Well, now that that's clear, what do we mean by baby steps? Now, it's obvious and plain and simple as it sounds. And I'm not going to suggest, yes, go do more yoga. You don't have to become a master meditator. That's not the kind of baby steps we're talking about here. But spiritually aware people tend to think, oh, now I must behave more spiritually in my march toward manifestation. No, look around you at what successful people in your field do all day. This is one place where looking outside of yourself for hints is okay. We're not judging anybody, and we're certainly not saying, oh, they're doing that, I have to do this. But if you don't have a clue of what to do next, what are people in your field doing? What are your peers doing? Are they making cold calls 6 a day? I know. Ugh. Or are they doing continuing education? That's a good idea. Are they active in groups with common interests? Baby steps are anything in the direction of your dream, because knocking on one door inevitably opens another. So, how are you going to get out in the world? Get moving? Those are your baby steps. Maybe you're not really keen on some of these ideas, but if you're not totally against it, you could try it out. And the energy created by this step, boom, a door opens up. And it wasn't even going to come from what you tried, but because you went there, other things could happen. It doesn't really matter what you do. And that's why you're open to other possibilities in your path, as well as partners and details and all the things we've been filling this grid with. So, how do you begin? You assess your options. When you look at all the things you could be doing to move toward what you ultimately want, maybe right this minute they all stink, okay? So assess all your stinky options. Give yourself a deadline, like a couple of days, and then choose the least stinky one. Now you're under sail. Now, we do not under any circumstances mean choose the thing you hate the least and you're stuck with that forever and ever to the end of your life. You just have to make do. No. This is just to get you out of the house. You need to become a lightning rod and you need to do something. Many of us beginning our businesses needed to have a part time job. We needed the finances to feel safe enough to play in our work. And as we'll hear later on, things that then grew our business came from when we were out doing that job. But if you're sitting and waiting for the yellow brick road or that really cool idea to land, it's not coming because it doesn't work like that. You have the dream, this end result we've been working on, and the universe is now pressing it to you. But until you leave the front door, turn on the computer, make a phone call, it's not going to be something that can connect with you. So get out the front door for any pretense or excuse. And that will often be down the least stinky path that you have an option to in this moment. And don't just choose one stinky path to try. Try several. For me, I had a number of paths that I had no idea where they would lead. I remember one of those paths was a scary, scary one. I committed to doing 3 live videos on Periscope every day for 30 days. And that led to 90 straight days. And even one of them was done with written notes because I had laryngitis. We all do this. We are taking action that breeds clarity that you could not have had any other way if you had not taken that step. Now, the clarity I received was quite surprising. Number one, I became very comfortable on camera and on video. And has that served me? Absolutely. The second bit of clarity was even more surprising. I was able to engage with an audience and move people on video. Who knew? And at one point in my business, I could directly link every single person working with me as a client back to that Periscope time. And I also didn't wait to see if this Periscope gig was going to turn out. I started down other paths while I was doing that, trying this, trying that. And now today, it's like I could sometimes have to pinch myself. And I wonder how all the paths I took, the twists and the turns and the seeming failures, could have produced such a massive transformation in my life. And know that you can worry if you still need to. You can have a pity party every night with your best friends on the phone. But if you do the simple things we've talked about today, make your end results general. Get excited about them to the best of your ability. Create a vision board or a visualization and show up. Do stuff. Some of the stuff is going to feel unworthy of your big dream. Like, this has nothing to do with that. Why am I bothering? Some of the things you're going to do are going to feel beneath where you want to go. It can feel like these baby steps are never going to take you anywhere. But I promise you, your physical senses of how important important some baby step is are the biggest liars in the world. You are a magic instigator. You're pushed onto greatness every single day, no matter how it looks or feels. If you just do what you know to do, you can't be stopped because your positive thoughts are 10,000 times more powerful than any of your negative thoughts. So stop worrying about worrying so much and having pity parties. Go have one, have fun at it. As long as you also do everything else that we've been talking about. So turn now on page 24. Let's fill in some blanks here. Number 1, taking action summons resources, emboldens your beliefs, and avails you of life's magic. Number 2, for every step you take, the universe takes 10,000. Sometimes knocking on one door often forces another one to open. That to me is the magic and the joy and the fun of it. You never know. Number 3, what you do is not as important as that you just do it. Number 4, by trying many paths, you automatically navigate around limiting beliefs. This is the other tip I promised you about how to beat invisible limiting beliefs without even knowing what they are. Because when you're out there just going at it, that belief, this won't work. Maybe it won't, but I've also got this going. Maybe it won't, doesn't matter. So this is another way, trying these paths, being in motion. Number 5, never stop asking for help, trying new directions, responding to conditions, innovating, and evolving. Number 6, the more you enjoy and can afford what you do, meaning what you're doing is paying for itself, then the more exclusive it can become. Now, this is for the 20% of you who are already on your path. When you both love what you're doing and it provides you the income you need so you can afford to do it exclusively, then you can hone this one path and be more and more focused. I wouldn't dream of telling someone like Angela Lansbury, the famous actress, that she really should also take up coaching students and wait tables just to be on the safe side in case this acting gig doesn't work out. Okay? So, what we're saying here is if you are that far along the road that you have found something that ignites you and you can afford to do it, again, meaning it is providing you with the income you need to live, then you don't need other paths. Go ahead, be more specific, focus in on that. But if both of these criteria are not met, you're not ignited and fabulously in love with what you do, or it's not bringing in the income yet, diversify until they are met. No, you are not settling for less, and you're not creating an escape plan. You are opening yourself to life's magic. Consider Mariah Carey, who has as many number 1 hits as the Beatles minus 1. She was a waitress in a diner in Manhattan for the full first year that she was launching her singing career. Elvis Presley was a mechanic. J.K. Rowling was a stay-at-home mom. You don't have to go out in this blaze of glory and burn your bridges and do one thing and never give up on it until you succeed. That is drama trauma and for soap operas, okay? You are a gladiator of love and joy, and you're just going to stoke the fire every which way you can at a pace that's comfortable for you. Now that you won't have to stretch, not that you won't have to stretch sometimes and do some stinky things, just know you are ruling them out as your life's great passion. How many times have we tried to, oh, this sounds good, and we get about halfway in it and go, woo, I wouldn't do that on a bet. How would we have known? Sometimes that's what going down the path is for, is to eliminate it. Number 7, always consider your unique strengths, likes, and preferences when formulating the directions that you will be moving in. Now, we ended our list with a point that said, always tune in to your inner preferences, desires, and strengths. And remember, this is the take action section. So this is where you get to mark your journey with your own indelible stamp. This is who you are. This is how you are doing it. So in formulating your baby steps, remember this. Remember when it was really, really fun to catch raindrops on your tongue? Walk under archways because they were there, and roll around in the sand at the beach. Remember when it was really fun to go all the way to the store for a tiny treat? Lie in the grass looking for God in the clouds, or make scary monster faces in the mirror. Remember when it was really fun to watch the stars because they were winking at you, count the flowers in the garden by the door, and maybe put Cocoa Puffs up your nose? Well, I am happy to inform you most of that is still fun. Ah, the universe. Ah, to be alive. What a precious, fleeting gift. So when it comes to formulating the action you'll be taking, consider these things that long ago perhaps thrilled you, because chances are they still do, except for maybe the Cocoa Puffs. All right, so now we're going to convert the matrix once again into our second matrix-based exercise. This time, formulating baby steps and concrete actions to take in the future. So on page 25, we have the hypothetical starting point of this time creative, fulfilling work, which you know is one of the fabulous 5 end results. Who doesn't want creative, fulfilling work? We're going to dress it up and flesh out general interest areas or directions to move in. So let's try, for our example, writing, speaking, irrigation repair. Why not? Who knows? Then, once you have these directions, these steps, what are the concrete baby steps that might be taken? You see this mechanism play out on the worksheet. Writing, write the e-zine in the website or a book. You could join an association and attend a book fair. Speaking, Toastmasters, NSA meetings, Rotary Club, networking, irrigation, wandering off down into the ethers. So on page 26, we've got this creative, fulfilling work leading to some directions that they could move in. Okay, so we're going to circle just one because of our limited time and space here, and you'll then flesh out 7 concrete steps to take in the immediate future. This is super simple. There we are. Now, in your book, you have your blank piece. We're going to turn it over to you to do this creative work. You don't have to add your choice. You don't have to do creative, fulfilling work. You've put in whatever you'd like. It can be any priority area, wherever, whatever it is for you. Then we want to dress it up into some directions you could possibly go in, depending on your starting point. The second column may or may not be doable, meaning it might just be ideas. Like, we'll get to more, but just, it might not be an actual step. It might be all right, let's go with irrigation, work for a company. Because you either could work for a company or do it on your own. So that's what we mean by depending on your starting point. The second column that you're working on, you're going to put in about 4 things, may not be doable. If you simply ask yourself, what are some of your general interests with regard to your starting point? Again, they may not necessarily speak of a direction you'll move in, but they'll give you some general ideas. So just list your general areas, interests there in that middle column, from which you'll choose one to flesh out. And we're going to put about 7 baby steps. So I'm going to go ahead and put our previous example up so you'll have it as an idea. And go ahead and take the time you need to do the most important exercise of this program, because you want to get a feel for how really simple this actually is. We're just going to break the ice here, and then having done it, you've got direction to move in. So I'm going to invite you to just pause the video, give yourself 5 minutes, and then come back for our wrap up. Great job. How did it go? Now, I'll point out again, you will most likely have more than just 4 general areas, of course, because the more areas you have, the more things there are to do, and so the quicker the universe can reach you. And then for each of the column areas in that second column, you won't limit yourself to 7 things in the third column. We just did that for time because we're just playing. In fact, this is a living document that you will be constantly working on, thinking about, what else could I try? What else could I play with? What else am I desiring? It never ends. You're always going to be stirring the pot with logic and intuition, and thereby giving the universe more dots to connect on your behalf. Did anyone choose happiness as their end result, no matter how you personally define it? And don't feel bad if you didn't choose happiness. Just keep considering happiness as your grand overarching definition of what you desire, because that is a gift. When happiness is the ultimate end result, the universe has so much room to maneuver. I keep mentioning this because you may be going through all kinds of mental gymnastics about why you wouldn't choose happiness, why it isn't for you, it isn't practical, it doesn't make sense, etc., etc. And I don't want anyone a year from now to be like, I've been trying to work this matrix. It is so frustrating because it's taking so long. Recall what we said about happiness being the ultimate end result. Because when that is the end result, the universe will take care of all the details. It implies that all cylinders are firing. You will have everything you could ever desire in your picture of happiness. And that is different for each and every one of us. That's the beauty and power of this. The universe knows what will make you ultimately happy. When you choose this grand vision, you're trusting the universe to it all. Happiness is all I care about. It's all I am attached to being. And what I do is simply trust, stay in action by following the breadcrumbs, taking baby steps, and this really, really big, important component. Wear a great, big, ear to ear, open mouth smile. Because great, big, ear to ear, open mouth smiles are responsible for far more sizzling romances, salary increases, life extensions, and calorie burning than dentists, doctors, and financial planners will ever comprehend. Show us your tonsils, baby. The universe. You can do that. So, step 3 of playing the matrix, take action. Even if the end result that you are wanting change in is the ethereal quality of more happiness, whatever that means to you. You have to take physical action on a regular basis. If you want change in time and space, you have to act. Always remembering your part is the easy part. Show up, hoist the sails, smile. The universe does the heavy lifting. But always, this element needs to be present. You taking action. Too often in my work with others, I see inaction, kind of this waiting for the magic, waiting for the universe who loves and adores me to make the first move. And that's not where you want to be. That's not how this works. So I've created a grid just for fun, hypothetically using with happiness as the end result, to show you how it will translate into concrete action steps. Remember, you will translate happiness for yourself, as in, don't let the word happiness trigger you into missing this incredible principle. So the top 4 specific baby steps in our example here are, what would make me feel better? What would make me happy? More friends, busier calendar. As a side note, I never said ever, but for our example, we'll put it in there. Being in nature, helping others. So then we're going to flesh out, let's just for fun, flesh out busier calendar. with more details. And maybe this is actually important for me because maybe it's not so much a busier calendar, but it's a calendar full of things that will be baby steps toward my end result versus just stuff I got to do. Hmm, thanks for playing that game with me. So, in our example, we've got these details. We are not attached to any of them to make us happy. Just say it. But it is up to you to call your friends more. Or feel into this, because we are all advanced warriors here on the edge. You begin thinking about a friend and what happens. Half the time they'll call you. So it's feel how that goes. Maybe you don't have to actually physically pick up the phone, but you do have to actually think about, ooh, I would love to talk to so and so. So you could pick up the phone or you can answer it. You could join a museum and actually go. You could volunteer, pick up a work part-time job, participate in clubs, take a vacation, host a luncheon, etc., forever and ever. Amen. But it's up to you to be the spark so that the universe can light the fire. Now, we just did, at least schematically, draw this out, all three of the three steps for playing the matrix. This third step, like step 2, does have some homework. You have to take the steps and forevermore, as I just said, formulate further steps to take from there and further steps to take from there. And rest easy. That's the easy part. The day will come like it did for me, that even though it may seem like it was a long time coming, and you're like, when is this ever going to give? When is my life going to take off? All of a sudden, you're going to be like, wow, it didn't take long at all. I'm going to pause here for our female example of this. Do you remember the last stages of pregnancy? It felt like you had been pregnant for 382 years and it was never going to end. And then there was that whole birthing process thing. And then that baby was laid in your arms and it was like all of that was gone. Poof. That's what this is going to feel like. And it'll be so good that you'll think to yourself, man, I would have waited 10 times longer for the benefits I'm now living, for the fruit of my labors that I'm now experiencing. It's that good. So hang in there. You'll astound yourself in how quickly things transpire. Although, in the throes of things, it might seem like it's taking long. That's not the case at all in hindsight. You've got this, my friends. You've got it.